The presentation you are watching is the second presentation in a three-part series for our lesson in Graffiti, Introduction to Graffiti. We need to know about color theory in order to create a design that is pleasing to our eyes. Color theory is a collection of rules and guidelines which artists and designers use to create their art using appealing color schemes. A color scheme is a combination of colors that are used in design, such as graphic design, interior design, and fine art. Let's learn a little bit more about what color theory is.
Color. It plays a vital role in design and everyday life. It can draw your eye to an image, evoke a certain mood or emotion, even communicate something important without using words at all. So how do we know which colors look good together and which ones don't? The answer is simple. Color theory. Artists and designers have followed color theory for centuries, but anyone can learn more about it. It can help you feel confident in many different situations, whether it's choosing colors for a design or putting together the perfect outfit. All it takes is a little insight, and you'll be looking at color in a whole new way. Let's start at the beginning, the very beginning, with a refresher on the basics. Remember learning about primary and secondary colors in school? Then you already have some knowledge of color theory. Red and yellow make orange, yellow and blue make green, and blue and red make purple. If we mix these colors together, we get even more in-between shades, like red-orange and yellow-green. Altogether, they form what's called a color wheel. You can probably see where it gets its name. Now, let's take it one step further with hue, saturation, and value. These are terms you might never see in daily life, but they're the key to understanding more nuanced colors, like all those little paint chips at the home improvement store. Hue is the easiest one. It's basically just another word for color. Saturation refers to intensity. In other words, whether the color appears more subtle or more vibrant. Value has to do with how dark or light the color is, ranging from black to white. As you can see, this gives us many different shades, from a deep reddish brown to light pastel pink. So how do we put this all together to create professional-looking color schemes? There are actually tried and true formulas based on something called color harmony that can help. All you need is the color wheel. The easiest formula for harmony is monochromatic because it only uses one color or hue. Just pick a spot on the color wheel and use your knowledge of saturation and value to create variations. The best thing about monochromatic color schemes is that they're guaranteed to match. An analogous color scheme uses colors that are next to each other on the wheel, like reds and oranges, or cooler colors like blues and greens. Don't be afraid to play with the palette and create your own unique interpretation. That's what these formulas really are, merely starting points to help guide and inspire you. Complementary colors are opposite each other on the wheel, for instance, blue and orange, or the classic red and green. To avoid complementary color schemes that are too simplistic, add some variety by introducing lighter, darker, or desaturated tones. A split complementary color scheme uses the colors on either side of the complement. This gives you the same level of contrast, but more colors to work with, and potentially more interesting results. A triadic color scheme uses three colors that are evenly spaced, forming a perfect triangle on the wheel. These combinations tend to be pretty striking, especially with primary or secondary colors, so be mindful when using them in your work. Tetradic color schemes form a rectangle on the wheel, using not one but two complementary color pairs. This formula works best if you let one color dominate while the others serve as an accent. There are a few classic do's and don'ts when it comes to color. For instance, have you ever seen colors that seem to vibrate when they're placed next to each other? The solution is to tone it down, literally, and there's a simple way to do it. Start with one color and try adjusting its lightness, darkness, or saturation. Sometimes a little contrast is all your color palette needs. Readability is an important factor in any design. Your colors should be legible, engaging, and easy on the eyes. Sometimes that means not using color, at least not in every little detail. Neutral colors like black, white, and gray can help you balance your design, so when you do use color, it really stands out. Every color sends a message. It's important to consider the tone of your project and choose a color palette that fits. For example, bright colors tend to have a fun or modern vibe. Desaturated colors often appear more businesslike. Sometimes it just depends on the context. You'd be surprised how flexible color can be. You can find ideas for color schemes in all kinds of interesting places, from advertising and branding to famous works of art. You can even use a web resource to browse color palettes or generate your own. Even experienced designers take inspiration from the world around them. There's nothing wrong with finding something you like and making it your own. Everywhere you look, there's color, color, and more color. It can be intimidating to use it in your work, but it doesn't have to be. Just keep experimenting and remember what you've learned about color theory. Soon, choosing great-looking colors will feel like second nature.
Let's quickly go over the terms that we just heard. Color scheme is a specific group of colors. Warm colors are colors that remind you of the sun, reds, oranges, and yellows. Cool colors are colors that remind you of water, blues, greens, and violets. Analogous colors are 3 to 5 colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. We need to remember all these terms because you are going to be picking one of these color schemes to create your graffiti. These are examples of the warm colors in the color wheel. So we're dividing the color wheel in half. One half are warm colors, and the other half are the cold or cool colors. They both give a different feeling. The analogous colors are the colors that are right next to each other in the color wheel. There are 12 different analogous combinations if you use 3 colors that are next to each other in this particular color wheel. And this is an artwork that has used analogous colors, and I would call it analogous warm colors. What I would like you to see now is the beautiful artwork that can be created using color pencils. This is an incredible artist whose name is C.J. Hendry, and I just want you to see the kind of art that she makes with colored pencils. You would never guess that these are colored pencils if I hadn't told you. Watch her process. What she explains is that her technique involves in coloring multiple layers of color. So she doesn't press hard the first time. She slowly builds up on it by doing layer after layer after layer until she achieves the look of a painting. These are examples of some of her other work. Now it's your turn to practice. We are going to be learning how to use colored pencils and use the color theory And what you're going to be doing right now is you are going to be grabbing your colored pencil technique worksheet, and you are going to be following along as this presentation goes on. So you have this colored pencil technique worksheet, and this is what it should look like in the end. We are going to be doing each of these different sections together, and you are going to be pausing and playing. Let's go to the first section, which is the chromatic value scale. In the chromatic value scale, you're going to be practicing to increase pressure, and you're going to be layering the colors to build on it. You're just going to pick one color and you're going to go from light to dark, and then you are also going to add from light to dark the black, and you're going to build up on it. Pause this so that you can go and create your own. The next section is the blending analogous color section. What you're going to do is choose a color on the color wheel, and you're also going to choose one color on either side of it. You are going to place your color in the middle of the spot, and then the other two colors beside it to the left and to the right. You are going to blend to create a new intermediate color. For example, the hue is the color orange, and the analogous is going to be yellow on one side and red on the other. Orange in the middle, and the yellow and reds are on the side. Pause this video and go create it on your own worksheet. Let's go to the layering color section. Make sure that you press lightly each color so that you can create a very smooth layer between colors. The order of the colors can make a difference in your final product. Try blending sets of analogous colors in different orders. For example, if you are layering the analogous colors blue and green, put the blue on the left box first and then green in the right box. Then green on top of the blue and blue on top of the green. Try layering similar shades of a color to see the variations. Pause the video so you can go try it yourself. For the next section, you are going to be building up a smooth pigment. You are going to be experimenting with materials and techniques to build the pigment and create a range of values. You're going to try to keep the middle of your rectangle lighter and darker on the edges. On the first one, you're going to be blending with white. On the second one, you're going to be using a colorless blender. On the third rectangle, you are going to be burnishing. And burnishing means that you're going to be pressing hard with multiple colors, and you're going to leave the paper super smooth, and we don't want to see any of the tooth of the paper. And then on your last one, you will be erasing with an eraser to lighten the color. Pause the video and try it yourself. For the final section, you will be combining techniques. You're going to combine what you learned to work from dark to light and back to dark again. Try using white, the colorless blender, or erasing for a smooth and saturated color, or other ways of making marks like hatching, scumbling, or stippling. Below the dotted line, add an analogous color, colors that are right next to the color that you chose, and you're going to burnish it to get a more complex color. Remember, burnishing means that you're going to be pressing hard. Pause the video and go try it yourself. When you have finished your colored pencil techniques worksheet, take a picture of it, submit it to your assignment in Canvas, and turn it in. You are now ready to begin the last section, the project, which you're going to be creating your name in graffiti style.